Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the afternoon session. It's now 1:30, December 10th, Board of County Commission meeting here in Seminole County. We are going to begin by asking folks to silence the ringers or sound devices on any items they have. That includes Commissioner Constantine.
You'll never live that down.
You know, you guys, I love it.
It's not you guys.
No, you guys keep doing it.
We got to have a little fun as a group once in a
I've heard
while.
all of you do at one point or another.
Before we get started, Pastor Bishop is here to say a few words on the board, if you would. Bishop, if you'd come up here to the microphone and bless this, if you would.
Oh, sure. Mr. Chairman, Madam Chair, and Commissioner Bob DeLore, Commissioner Constantine, Commissioner Andrea, Commissioner Amy, County Manager, Director, Deputy Directors, and all the workers of the county, greet you in this holy name. Special season of the year. Bob DeLore may say he only sees me this time of the year only, but you didn't see me last year, so I'm just dropping by to say hello. I was here this morning to take care of some business, and I said, let me just drop in and say hi to you guys for all the great work and wonderful work that you guys been doing all these years. We have worked in the past in the community doing a lot of things together with Bob DeLore and Commissioner Lee. And so it's been a long journey. And to see that you guys continue to keep up the good fight and to the awesome job that you guys have been doing. And it's a great time of the year. So we got to be loving. I mean, we just got over a hurricane, political hurricane, and Milton, and thank the Lord. They have a saying to say, after a storm, there must be a calm. And I'm glad that we are calm in both ways right now. And another compliment I want to give to Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for the work that you did with the canvassing board. I have worked with the canvassing board since Judge Bravo and the Cleaver, long time, all the way back to, I think it was George W. Bush. I've been doing it, working, and I want to thank you again for, you did a great job to ensure that everything were done decently and orderly. And to also thank all the staff, all the people that worked with the canvassing board and the election worker. So before I take my seat, I also want to say the workers, they did an awesome job. And I think they need just a little bit more, maybe a little bit more of, incentive for their hard work that they've been doing. It's been a long time.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you all for the opportunity. Give me this moment to say tribute to all of you. Great job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good holiday season.
Thank you again.
All right, we will move to our public hearing agenda. I will go to the county attorney, Ms. Kate Latour, to read in the rules of public participation to the public hearing agenda.
While the board welcomes comments from all persons with an interest in these proceedings, Florida law requires that the board's decision in quasi-judicial actions be supported by competent substantial evidence presented to the board during the hearings on the applications. Competent substantial evidence is such evidence as a reasonable mind would accept as adequate to support a conclusion. There must be a factual basis in the record to support opinion testimony from both expert and non-expert witnesses. Persons presenting testimony may rely on factual information that they present, information presented by county staff, information the applicant presented, or on factual information included in the county staff report to support their testimony. All persons who present written materials to the board for consideration must ensure that a copy of such materials is provided to the clerk for inclusion in the board's record of proceedings and official minutes. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Latour. Is there a motion to accept proof of publication?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign. Hearing none, carries unanimous. Please disclose any ex parte any commissioner has received. In the chairman's case, I've received nothing.
I've received nothing.
0.
Nothing.
Okay. Well, that said, we'll move on to our first item, which is item 52, Fifth Street right-of-way vacate. Staff will give a presentation. Ms. Annie Silloway will be the presenter, senior planner. Once we finish with that, we'll ask the applicant to come up and give a statement if they so desire, and then we'll go to public comment.
Okay.
Ms. Silloway?
Thank you. For the record, Annie Silloway, Senior Planner with Development Services. The applicants Donald and Hope Beverly and Elizabeth Corino have petitioned Seminole County to vacate and abandon a portion of an unimproved right-of-way lying along the south perimeter of Lot 1 and Lot 17 of the first addition to the Sylvan Lake subdivision as recorded in Plat Book 4, page 18, and along the north perimeter of lots 129 through 134 of the Town of Sylvan Lake subdivision as recorded in Plat Book 2, page 69 of the Public Records of Seminole County, Florida. The Town of Sylvan Lake plat that establishes the unimproved right-of-way was recorded in 1915. The abutting property owners would like to incorporate the area subject to the vacate into their lots. The unimproved right-of-way is 30 feet wide and approximately 334 feet in length. If the vacate is approved, 15 feet would be allocated to the north property and 15 feet would be allocated to the south property. The applicant has provided letters of no objection from all applicable utility companies, and Seminole County staff has no objection to the requested vacate. Environmental Services has requested a 15-foot wide easement that is required and split between each property owner equally and will be placed over a portion of the area subject to the vacate, which each applicant has provided. The request complies with the requirements for vacating a right-of-way under Section 35.184 of the Seminole County Land Development Code and the authority of Sections 336.09. Vacating the right-of-way will not affect access to adjacent properties and therefore does not result in adjacent parcels becoming landlocked. The required statutory notice was published. Staff requests the Board of County Commissioners adopt the resolution vacating and abandoning a portion of unimproved right-of-way known as Fifth Street in the Town of Sylvan Lake subdivision as recorded in Plat Book 2, page 69 of the Public Records of Seminole County, Florida. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Silloway. Any
Thank you.
inquiries by the board? Seeing none, Mr. Beverly, do you care to make any statements or presentations to the board?
They have a question.
Very well. Anyone here from the public to speak on this item?
No, sir.
Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. This is Commissioner Herr's district.
I move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign. Seeing none, carries unanimous. Thank you, Ms. Silloway.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beverly and Mrs. Beverly. Next item is item 53. Consider adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 175 offenses. This will be presented by Ms. Tricia Johnson, Deputy County Manager. Ms. Johnson?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman and Commissioners. As you know, earlier this year, the legislature enacted House Bill 1365, which prohibits public camping and sleeping on any public property. At the October 22nd, 2024 Commission meeting, the board directed staff to amend county code consistent with Florida statutes and establish a uniform process by which persons may be trespassed from county property. Consistent with Florida statutes, this ordinance amends Chapter 175, creating a new section prohibiting unauthorized camping or sleeping, and creating a new section establishing a process for the issuance of trespass warnings and providing for an appeal process. Code changes include the definition of public camping and sleeping, which is defined as lodging overnight in a temporary outdoor habitation used as a dwelling or living space. Public camping or sleeping does not include lodging overnight in a motor vehicle or camping for recreational purposes on designated property. Public camping or sleeping is prohibited on any county property, such as county buildings, facilities, grounds, and any county right-of-way. Persons remaining on county property without authorization shall be subject to the trespass procedures and be directed to leave county property. With respect to trespass procedures, we worked with the Sheriff's Office on this language. The code outlines that the Seminole County Sheriff's Office may issue trespass warnings limited to the specific county property after verbally informing the person that they are not authorized to remain on county property. The first violation notes that trespass warning for a period not to exceed 1 year. The second violation is trespass warning for a period not to exceed 2 years. And persons found on county property in violation of a previously issued trespass warning are subject to arrest for trespassing. The ordinance also outlines an appeal process in which the county manager may authorize a person currently subject to a trespass warning to enter county property for purposes of county business. For example, an individual who may have been trespassed from the county services building can be allowed to come to the building if they need to do business with the tax collector, property appraiser's office, and so forth. An appeal of a trespass warning must be submitted in writing to the county manager within 10 calendar days of issuance of the trespass warning. Appeals shall be heard by the county manager within 30 days of receipt of the written appeal, and within 5 days of the hearing, the county manager shall issue a written decision, and the decision of the county manager shall be final. Some comments related to process before we go to requested action. The ordinance outlines processes at a macro level. I did want to note that we are working with the Sheriff's Office to talk in further detail about the trespass warnings, what those will look like, who will manage them from an administrative process, and so forth. Additionally, we'll be working on a process for our internal team for those, for example, in commission offices, our real estate offices that get phone calls about individuals that may be public sleeping or camping on county property. Where should those calls go? How should that enforcement process work from a staff standpoint? And finally, we'll be outlining a more detailed appeal process beyond what is just noted in the ordinance. So with that, our requested action today is to ask the board to approve and authorize the chairman to adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 175. I won't read it all, but it is up on this slide for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further inquiries of staff? Seeing none, Ms. Dominique, do we have any speakers on this item?
No, sir.
Seeing none, we will close public comment and go to board action.
Motion to
Commissioner
approve.
Herr?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Chairman, I have a quick question.
Sure.
I will be supporting this, but I think that there should be proper signage put up if there is natural lands, depending upon who owns it, in other words, state and county, so that people understand where the county line for ownership is. And I'm hoping that we would look into that to see what that would cost and entail, because we need to know, if they're not allowed to be on county property, they need to know where the line or boundary is. That's my only issue.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Herr?
I support that request as well, and was heading down a similar path, and want to put on the record that the state property, the state has absolved itself of this regulation. So you are allowed to camp on state property, for the record. I just think the general public needs to understand that. So you can be trespassed from this side of a line and not trespassed from this side of a line in this county,
Yes, Commissioner, that is correct.
Under the statute.
under the statute.
They just need to know where the line is.
At least until the next
And
legislative
we
session.
need to know where the line
That's
is.
why I'm
Those
asking.
that are enforcing it need to know where the line is.
I would
As decided by the
support that as well. However, I think the legislature is going to readdress this coming year in the interest of not spending too much money for signage. Maybe we use the universally legally accepted purple paint mark along the boundary on certain trees to recognize where the boundary's at before we go buy expensive signs and put them up. Just a thought.
I just think that staff needs to inform us of what they're doing and what the most expeditious way of doing it. I'm not going to micromanage them.
Yep, agreed.
Either
Fair enough.
paint or signage.
And what the ordinance does by adding the
directions.
trespass language allows us to put signage up. We don't even have that ability at the moment. So that does allow us to put no trespassing signage up on our property. We wouldn't do that all over right away, but larger parcels and so forth.
Right. Very good.
Good judgment.
Any further inquiries or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Seeing none, carries unanimous. Thank you very kindly.
Thank you.
Next item is item 54, request board approval of an ordinance for the 18th Judicial Circuit Courts Program Trust Fund. This is going to be presented by Ms. Lori Bailey Brown.
Good afternoon, Chairman and Board of County Commissioners. Item number 54 is a public hearing for the ordinance amending Chapter 50 of the Seminole County Code by creating a new Part 5 to provide a fund for the court's operation of various programs, providing for codification of the Seminole County Code, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. The ordinance creates the court's operation fund to account for programming of the 18th Judicial Circuit Court, specifically for the drug testing laboratory that is in operation through grant funding. This is similar to the Adult Drug Court Trust Fund created by statute to carry forward revenues each year for expenditure of the program. In 2022, Seminole County began providing limited laboratory services at the Criminal Justice Center for the Adult Drug Court. In 2023, the services were expanded to all courts through the COSAP grant, which provided more funding for the laboratory. Judicial Circuit Court Administration would like to continue the on-site laboratory and expand it to be self-sustaining. There are similar labs in Polk County, Brevard, and Duval counties in operation. The laboratory has decreased wait times for evidence, which has increased demand on the lab. Working through the grant program, the court administration would like to continue the drug testing laboratory on-site with revenues that can be generated through programming and partnerships. Grant funding will continue to support the lab functions through 2025, and staff will continue to maximize grant opportunities for the drug lab. Upon approval of the ordinance, the courts will issue an administrative order to collect fees for the lab. The ordinance will ensure those revenues are accounted for in a separate fund for expenditure of the program. The recommendation is to approve the ordinance to establish the court's operation fund and BAR 25-11. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much, Ms. Brown. Any questions for Ms. Brown? Seeing none, Ms. Dominique, are there any comments from the public?
No, sir.
Seeing none, we'll close public comment and go to board action.
Move approval.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign. Seeing none, carries unanimous. Thank you, Ms. Brown.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes our hearing portion of this afternoon. We will move to the county attorney's report.
I have no reports today, Mr. Chairman.
Wow.
Good job.
County manager's report.
I do have a few items, a couple of good news items, but first, Chairman and Commissioners, there are a few directors that will be departing us, and so I just wanted to recognize them. A few of them are leaving at the end of this calendar year. Some of them are leaving at the beginning of January. But I'd like to recognize Mr. John Dredge. He's retiring. He's been with us for 10 years. Rebecca Hammock. They don't know I'm doing this. Is she here? Where's she at? Rebecca's going to the private sector. She's been with us for 10 years as well. Andrea Wessler-Bronner, who's not with us, she's joined us for the last year. She's going home to be with her kids. She has 2 small children. And as you know, James Garuso is, his wife retired. And so for him, he told us for him to stay married and go over to the West Coast, he had to go over there. And as you know, this morning on the consent, that you all confirmed my recommendation to hire the new IT director. So I started. So I just wanted to wish all of them luck and thank them for their service to the residents and the business community of Seminole County. They've been a great addition. See, if I told them I was doing that, then they would all disappear. They wouldn't have been here. There are two other great news items as well, is that the TID was approved, as you all had known. We got all the signatures from the hoteliers. We surpassed the 50% mark. I already had this scheduled at the first of the calendar year to bring you all an update and how we are going for the next steps. So that will be coming up at the first of the calendar year, January or early February. So you'll be hearing more from that. And out of the nowhere, I got a call from the superintendent this morning of schools, Ms. Beeman, who said that the Winter Springs Council approved the school ILA last night. I did not know that was on their agenda, and so now we have the final signature.
Yay, Winter Springs.
Thank goodness.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So that is,
4 years?
4 years. 4 years.
And ironically, remember the provision we put in the ILA? We got to
Was for
review
them.
in 4 years?
Yeah,
yeah.
that's amazing.
So that was some great news this morning as well.
All right.
And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Great, thank you very kindly. Any questions for the county manager? Seeing none, we will go to district reports. Start with Commissioner Constantine.
Thank you very much. First, I'm going to get the appointments, and it's going to be a little different than what you received. I am going to ask in one motion the reappointment of Mr. Rex Cloutz and Ms. Shelley Nelson for the Agricultural Advisory Board, Ms. Donna Bundy and Ms. Rosalie Cook for the Historical Commission, and Ms. Christine Trevette for the Library Advisory Board.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign. Carries unanimous.
I would also, chronologically, we haven't met for a while, but I'm just, a few things. First, I wanted to congratulate the zoo on a great, festival again with the Asian Lantern Festival, and encourage those of you that this is a big fundraiser for them. Those of you that want to have something that's really exciting for your family during the holidays, take the time to go out there. It really is remarkable and beautiful. Also, I want to congratulate Mr. Skip Fowler, who, after 43 years as the city attorney for Altamont Springs, is semi-retired, he says. He's not retiring, he's semi-retiring. But, that's remarkable when you think about it, that a county or city attorney could last 43 years. I made the motion to hire him. So what does that say? Also, I wanted to, it's old me. That's exactly what it says, Bob, and everyone else that's laughing. I would also say that tomorrow is the Metro Plan Board meeting, which I just want to let you know that the 5-year plan and other things will be on there. And also, on a sad note, I want to acknowledge the passing of two pretty remarkable folks here from Central Florida. One is the Orlando Hotel and Philanthropic individual, Harris Rosen, who one of the programs that he, other than Tangelo Park and many, many other philanthropic activities, also started the Rosen School of Hospitality at UCF, which, I was always fortunate enough to get a number of interns that helped with my charity event. One of them happens to be our employee now, Beatrice Flores, who went there and graduated from that program. And also the former state representative and Orlando Airport Authority and longtime, all his life, resident of Altamont Springs, Mr. Bob Hadaway. Outside of that, I just wanted to wish all of you a wonderful holiday season, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. Looking forward to 2025.
Amen. Thank you, Commissioner Constantine. Our next we will have is Commissioner Lockhart, District 4.
I'm sending you all an email right now about something I'm going to mention in my district report. So when I say you have this email, you now have the email. It's true. It will not be a lie. I also have some appointments that will be different than what you have in front of you. Appointing to the Agricultural Advisory Board, Mr. John Lawmercy for a term ending December 31st, 2026, and Aaron Keefe also for that same term period. Board of Adjustment, a new member to the Board of Adjustment, Mr. Edward Levant, and a letter of appreciation to the person who they are replacing on that board, if we could get that sent out as well. Reappointing Carmen Beer, and that appointment, by the way, is ending December 31st, 2028. The Historical Commission appointment of Carmen Bierman, ending December 26. Library Advisory Board is a reappointment. It's actually Commissioner Herr's appointee from last year that rotated to me, Sean Lucier, which is expiring December 26. Reappointing Dan Lopez to the Planning and Zoning Board, and that is ending December 28. And reappointing Stephen Powell to the Port Authority Board, ending December 28. Those are my appointments for today.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, carries unanimous.
This last couple of weeks, there's been a lot going on. I was able to speak to a Girl Scout troop that meets at Idlewild Elementary. It was, there were a group of about 25 girls ranging in age from kindergarten to 8th grade. So how's that for a target market to speak to?
And they have the best cookies.
Well, I wasn't offered any cookies for the record, but I do buy some cookies. I've got a supplier, but I get them from around here. But wonderful group of girls, lots of fantastic questions, just really fun to see their interest in local government and what that looks like. Was able to speak at the Seminole Chamber Good Morning Seminole this last week on the topic was homelessness and the camping ordinance that we just passed. Served with two folks representing nonprofits, the Sharing Center and Rescue Outreach Mission, and Chris Fojo, who's a commercial realtor in Seminole County. So to get his perspective from the private sector and how homelessness impacts commercial real estate as well was good. I think there were about 140 folks in attendance, and I feel like it was an opportunity to explore a topic that some folks may want to take a deeper dive into. It certainly is very, very complex, and the 30 or so minutes that we had to talk about it wasn't really enough to scratch the surface, but well attended, always a great event at Good Morning Seminole. Something that I want to draw your attention to and ask for, well, two things. The letter that I just emailed you is from FAC, the Florida Association of Counties, at this last week's conference, which unfortunately neither Commissioner Constantine nor I could attend, but I believe Ms. Johnson was there and Ms. Latour. They are asking for, and they voted to send a letter of support to request that the state of Florida join the Southern Rail Commission. There are a lot of advantages to this, and if the board agrees after reading what the letter is actually requesting, I'd like to see if there is support for the county manager's office to send a letter under the chairman's signature to participate in that. I think having read just a little bit about the background, it certainly makes sense for us to be able to tap into all of those resources, but
I would support that. The only question I would have is, being that Texas and Florida are the only two states where a separate entity controls all transportation funds separate and apart from the local jurisdictions, how that would work and whether it would be feasible. But outside of that, I'm happy to support that request.
that'd be great.
Are you recommending it?
I am recommending that we send
Is there
that
a
letter.
motion?
Let's do it.
Yes, that is a motion.
I'll second it.
For the county manager's office to send a letter. There's a draft of the letter itself. We could, of course, tweak it to make it personal for Seminole.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimous. You all have your
Thank you all so
consent?
much. Thank you for dragging me over the finish line there. The other thing that's the county manager is helping us with, and other members of staff as well, and I'm putting this on your radar for a couple of reasons. The Mayfair Golf Course, which is a course owned by the city of Sanford, had a situation during Hurricane Milton where part of their golf course was flooding. And for whatever reason, the golf course management company felt that the solution to alleviating that was to pump reclaimed water from their pond and discharge it into the East Crystal chain of lakes. After multiple phone calls
Sorry for laughing.
from me as the district commissioner and the county manager to the city manager, and our staff being involved, phone calls were made to DEP and St. John's. Our team has participated in a couple of conversations with their staff. My concern is multiple things, but twofold. One is that same golf course management company is the one that we have hired to manage Wekiva for us. They do not believe that what they did was inappropriate. I think we would disagree with that.
100%.
I believe DEP disagrees with that. Right now, the folks that are engaged in the conversation at the staff level at the city of Sanford also do not feel that there is any need for any type of mitigation, although there have been algal blooms and some other problems stemming from that, not just immediately, but ongoing since those were impaired water bodies. So I would like the board to give the county manager the authority and the direction from the entire board, not just the district commissioner, to pursue whatever need be with the city manager of the city of Sanford and ask what the circumstances with this golf course management company, thinking that this was an acceptable solution, since they also work for us.
That's a motion, I'll second it.
Mr.
you.
Chairman, and I was not aware of this, so thank you very much for bringing this forward. But, you know, if that group is managing ours and that is in the Wekiva protection area, that makes it even doubly concerning that, you know, with that National Historic River, it's already having problems with discharge and everything. So, yeah, I would
Good point.
100%.
Commissioner Delory?
First of all, thank you for bringing it to all of our attention. I wasn't aware of it either. You mentioned reclaim. Was there an issue with their reclaim lines that they had to pump it to a different location?
I think the way that they have it set up is that they have a pond that is lined specifically to take reclaimed water, and the water was supposed to stay in that specific pond
For irrigation, right?
for irrigation.
Right.
Okay.
And when that overflowed and there were problems with getting carts around the golf course, they just decided to pump that pond. We have video. They actually had two pumps, a pump that they rented and a pump that they owned, discharging over the course of a minimum of 3 days water from that pond into the East Crystal chain.
Okay. Then my next question would be to the county manager and his staff. What would be the mediation or the mitigation? For
We're already working, as Commissioner Lockhart knows, she brought this up to my attention. I think we found this out on a Friday night
Okay.
when we were all doing it. So Kim Ornberg from Environmental Services and Shannon Wetzel have already started meeting with the city of Sanford. So we're working on that.
And you're keeping track of all costs, including personnel costs?
Yes, we will. Yes.
So we may need to talk to someone about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the thing that's very troubling to me is that the city of Sanford doesn't seem to feel there's a concern with that. That's very troubling. So I think we need to have direct interaction with their folks.
And I haven't had the opportunity to talk to the city manager yet because we were waiting for this meeting to take place. The meeting took place, so now it's more, that's,
Right.
now my next step is to talk to the city manager.
In addition to that, I think we should ask the county attorney, in light of if we have the same management company at Wekiva, that we need to revisit the contract that specifically will spell out they will not pump any water off that property without proper permitting, proper understanding from us.
Right.
And maybe there's some additional language that needs to be tightened up in that. And that's the problem. You know, you think people that run golf courses would understand you can't go pumping that kind of water into a public water body, but never assume anything, I guess. Commissioner Delory.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Gray, what state agency would be having jurisdiction over this?
DEP.
DP.
I
And
want
St.
you to-
Johns as well, shouldn't they?
It's
Yes.
water quantity.
Would you be,
Not as much.
has our staff contacted DEP in
Yes.
St. John's?
Yes.
And what has their response been?
That it is a violation. They have told us that, so that's what we're working through. And that, the meeting that Commissioner Lockhart, she knows a little bit more about this. She was intriguingly involved in it as well. So that was the initial meeting that we had, that they didn't accept any accountability, basically, for it. So now we're moving through the process.
Okay, great.
And I'll keep the board up to speed, up to date on that.
Yeah.
Chairman, can you call the question?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, seeing none? You have your direction.
Thank you
Thank
all
you.
so much. And then look forward to seeing anyone that's going to be out. Speaking of Sanford, they do throw a great parade. Saturday night, the Sanford Parade of Lights downtown Sanford starts at 6 o'clock.
Great.
That's all I have.
Okay. We'll go on to Commissioner Herr, District 5.
Yes, I actually am going to approve my, or ask for your approval for my appointees to the boards, as is in the packet. Agricultural Advisory Board, J.W. Yarborough, term of 1/1/25 to 12/31 of 26. Agriculture Advisory Board, Yolanda McGee, term of 1/1/25 to 12/31 of 26. The Contractor Examiner Board, Jeff Wallace, he represents the pool services, 1/1/25 to 12/31 of 25. Historical Commission, Marjorie Smith, 1/1/25 to 12/31 of 26. Historical Commission, Beverly Mason, 1/1/25 to 12/31 of 26. TDC, Brenda Urias, 1/1/25 to 12/31 of 28. And this is a new appointee, Library Advisory Board, Hiro Yoshida, 1/1/24, 1/1/25 to 12, hold on a minute, let me verify. Two different dates on this one. 1/1/24 to 12/31 of 25, he is filling an open seat, which is why the
Second.
date is backdated.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign? Carries unanimous.
I did want to let the board know that at the last CFX meeting in November, we held a work session to move to all electronic tolls, referred to as AET, and it's coming sooner rather than later. The transition actually started 20 years ago. At this point, we're at 1.9% of the revenue for the Expressway Authority is cash. The rest is e-pass, transponders, invoices, et cetera. There is a transition plan for workforce and customers so that everybody has smooth landings. It is consistent with the Turnpike Authority, so the state is moving in this direction. There's no immediate, this is probably going to be the biggest question from citizens, there's no immediate plan to start tearing down the toll booth sections and do something else with them. That will be put into the long-term work plans. And we are adding the opportunity for PayPal, Apple Pay, Venmo, and you can do cash deposits for those that are non-electronic and completely off the grid. You can do cash deposits at Walmart.
No Bitcoin?
No Bitcoin.
Oh, man.
No plans for Bitcoin. So I just thought I should make you aware of that in case you get phone calls into your office. I did attend the Sheriff's Office Memorial Highway Dedication Ceremony that took place for our 3 fallen officers that don't have a highway dedicated so far, and that was extremely moving. I want to give a shout out to Commissioner Lockhart. She did an excellent job at the Chamber's Good Morning Seminole representing the county on the homelessness issue. And this morning, we passed on the consent agenda an item that was related to the Midway drainage project. And I want to give John Dredge and his entire team credit for being exceptionally creative, including Christian Swenson, around that particular item. It could have shut the entire project down, and it didn't because we got creative to figure out a way to do it. And with that, I will wish you all a Merry Christmas.
Great. Commissioner Delory.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I have a question for County Manager and his staff. There are still large amounts of storm debris from the hurricane in the southeastern portion of Seminole County, which is Chiliota. I know they're out there today, Aloma, southern Tuscaloosa, as well as Bertha and I'd like to get an update of when that will all be picked up. I actually have some residents that actually have resorted to burning it. I actually have photos of people burning it in the streets, just FYI.
Well, in my district, we actually have tree companies actually dropping and unloading their trucks on the side of the highway. And now we have people that are dumping appliances, cardboard, and everything else on top of those piles.
I wasn't going to go to that level, but it's happening.
But that's what happens in a rural area. I mean, they get out there and there's not a lot of population. They just start dumping on the side of the road. I know the governor's order was to expedite 24/7. I know that we asked for an exception to that, and we were granted that. But with that said, we're going pretty long in the tooth in getting this handled.
Yeah, I could give you an update if you want. I actually have Mr. Bond here and we're at about 85%. And just to let you know, we are a little bit better than some of our surrounding counties, to let you know, but I could definitely give you all an update on where we are. And
Is there any
and the areas.
projections that'll be done before Christmas?
Would you like to?
Yeah, Oliver, if you want to come up, please, sir.
We knew this possibly.
And Mr. Gray,
In all respect, because other counties might be doing worse than us,
I know.
doesn't mean we shouldn't be accelerating.
But as you saw, Mr. Chairman, during this, the whole, after the fight of the hurricanes, you were actually even pleading out to this stuff. It's going to take some time to get it all picked up,
Right, we
especially with
understand
the
that.
two back-to-back hurricanes. And the FEMA authorized, folks that are authorized to pick up that, they're scarce, so.
Right.
Yes, and I appreciate everyone's concern on this. The issue of tree companies and everything was brought to our attention, and that was why we actually prioritized Commissioner Delari's area in particular. Caryville Road in particular was suffering from tree companies knowing they're off the radar. You can just add to the pile, save a few bucks here and there. But yes, as the county manager said, we're about 85% done. That is approximate, but what we do expect is we will be done with the majority of the waste by Christmas. Not to say that we will be entirely done, because the last sticks and dregs of material always take the longest amount of time. But we still have about a month left on that 90-day time frame, which was that commitment to avoid 24-hour operations, which we didn't feel were necessary with the quantity of debris we had.
So are they also saying that they'll be picking up storm debris during the Christmas holidays?
We are looking into that right now. We did let some assets go over the Thanksgiving period. Our hope at this time is to keep assets running other than the holidays themselves to ensure that. But over the next week or so, we'll see where we are at that time. As I say, it's an approximate amount we completed. The number of calls and issues is certainly reducing, and some of those last areas of the county which hadn't previously been addressed, there's now a higher concentration of assets as they finish out other areas in those. So I think particularly Commissioner Delari's area in the last week, I don't think we've done anything in some of those areas approximately a week ago, and today I think we are closing in on completing out whole areas. So as we get to the end, there'll be a lot more concentrated, and we'll see faster turnaround in particular areas.
I even have one neighborhood that's actually decorating some of the debris.
We had that after Ian, and we enjoy it, but
You're getting creative.
Christmas spirit.
Pick it up.
So my question, Oliver, is, I just drove all the way up and back to the DC area, and in North Florida, I stopped at a rest area, and there were a couple dozen of these debris haulers. So I made a point to talk to them. They had just come back from the Carolinas, no longer dispatched there. They were returning here to Florida. Have we reached out recently to any of these companies to see if they are FEMA approved and whether we can bring those assets in, or?
Yes, certainly, and most of that's done through our contract to D&J, who are in this process. But since Thanksgiving, we had a little bit of a lull over Thanksgiving, but since then we've actually increased the number of assets we've got working. So as other communities and areas of the country close out, we are constantly trying to bring in additional assets. So we have more assets this week than we did last week, and we hope to continue that trend.
Great. Okay.
Can you give us a list of what neighborhoods you're actually going to be doing?
We do have a list of all the HOAs and private neighborhoods we work in. One thing that has been an issue this time is right of entry forms. We cannot go into private neighborhoods without those forms, and emergency management works on collecting those, and they start at I believe they start in May. But unfortunately, what we've seen this time is people filled them out last year and thought they were good for this year, so they're ignoring the emails, ignoring the phone calls, thinking that they're already ready. But we're constantly working to try and get those in, but surprisingly at this time we are still getting them in.
The areas
on a
I'm talking
daily
about are
basis.
not private neighborhoods, those are public neighborhoods.
The way we work is generally from a GIS map. It doesn't generally refer to the neighborhood names, but if you have addresses or anything, anytime we get a call in through customer service or commissioner aides, it is added to a spreadsheet, and we've been working with the GIS to create heat maps. So if we're seeing trends or particular areas that are troublesome, then we're directing assets into those areas.
Okay.
Commissioner Constantine?
Thank you. It's wonderful that we're doing better than others. Our county citizens expect that, it seems, and we all know that they would call. But one of the things I've observed, and it's because it takes so long to pick up the debris, is that lawn maintenance people will then put it out again, and a third time, and a fourth time. And it's not the folks that at that house that are complaining, it's their neighbors that are complaining, why haven't you picked up their garbage even, or their debris, even though they picked it up 2 or 3 times. So, it's frustrating, because I get those calls all the time, and I've said, hey, they've been through that neighborhood twice already. I just want everybody to understand that happens and to be a little patient. Thank you.
Commissioner Lockhart?
Question for the county attorney. Is there a reason why we have to do those annually? Could we do those right of entry forms good for every 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, or is it?
I mean, they could be written for different terms. I think it would depend on the underlying contract that we've entered into.
We actually asked that, and I believe it's just purely because it's a FEMA document, and that's the terms of theirs, because we would love to see that too. Whether or not there's still ability to do that.
Yeah, that's correct. We'd have to look at our FEMA grant funding to see how long they can be for.
Okay.
Because then we risk that not getting the grant funds if we don't.
Understood. If there's a way to extend it, boy, I would support that. Less work for
Absolutely, it
everyone.
would make it a lot easier.
Maybe that's something for our federal lobbyists.
Well, to that point with the FEMA grant, the obvious to me would be, it seems that there's not too many years we don't go without needing debris pickup. And there may be a few years that we didn't need it because there wasn't any hurricanes. Is the FEMA grant money available to purchase our own trucks, our own equipment?
I think Oliver just had a borderline stroke right there.
Well, that's not a question for me. I'd defer to emergency management on that.
I would be interested in knowing from that aspect. And then finally, my office had a couple calls where there seemed to be this confusion about tree debris versus construction debris damage from the hurricane, that we weren't accepting it or picking it up to go to the landfill. When our website said we were.
Right, and we are collecting construction debris if storm generated. It's done separately, and I think that is possibly where the confusion arose. It's not going to be the same truck. It's not processed the
Correct.
same. So it's done at a separate time with the very small amount of construction debris generated in this
Sure.
storm. It was very late in the game. We only really started doing that in the last several weeks. So I think that's where the confusion arose.
Yeah, because the constituents that called my office said they actually called out to the landfill and were told, no, we don't. And then the constituents said, well, you better look at your website because your website says you do.
Yeah, we can double check on that and see where that confusion arose.
Great.
But I will say, in this scenario this year was particularly difficult because we had Hurricane Helene,
Right.
which was not a designated disaster, and we were putting out very particular advice on how to process your material.
Right.
And then right on the back of that, we had a hurricane, and we flip-flopped on that advice entirely, and we're telling people to do the exact opposite.
Right.
And that definitely has made it a little more tricky this time, but we are very grateful that we've got great partners, and we were able to ascertain assets very early on. To Commissioner Constantine's point, in some ways that backfired a little bit because we went through areas very early on, and then we essentially cleared some of the northwest areas of the county.
Right.
But then very quickly we would see more material come out, so we realized we had to go through those communities again. So.
Right. Okay. Any other inquiries? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I have some board appointments, if I may.
Yes.
Okay, I have a list I handed out from the advisory, Agricultural Advisory. I have Dennis Langos. I have also Tom Minter. Board of Adjustments, Larry Wright. Code Enforcement, Kevin Ross. Contracts Examining Board, James Deploy. Historical Commission, Paul Zukromski, Ernest Mann, and Judith Smith. Park Preservation, Davidson Hampton. Planning and Zoning, Tim Smith. Scopa is Bill Skivey, and also Dana McBroom. I'll submit that to the clerk.
Okay. Commissioner Lockhart?
I'd like to pull Kevin Ross for separate consideration.
Sure.
Okay.
So I'll remove Kevin Ross from it, and then I'll do it on the separate.
I'll make that
Motioner
second. Yeah.
and seconder agree? Okay. All those in favor of the motion to accept the entire roster, less Kevin Ross, to the Code Enforcement Board? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Seeing none, carries unanimous.
On the
Okay.
Code Enforcement Board, I'd like to nominate Kevin Ross.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion?
So-
Commissioner Lockhart?
Yeah, the reason I pulled this one is during my recent opportunities to interact with Mr. Ross, I've been made aware of some personal and professional challenges he's been having, and I feel like it would be a service to him to relieve the responsibility of the Code Enforcement Board and to take this burden away from him during all the things that he has going on right now. And I'm sure once those get off his plate, it'd be an opportunity to maybe look again if he wants to serve, but seems like one more thing to heap on to everything he has going on right now.
Commissioner Delory, have you had a conversation with Ross recently?
I will tell you that our office has reached out to all the people that I've recommended, and everyone wants to be served again, and so that's why I'm recommending them. I've also checked their records, and they have been at most of the meetings, some that have been unanimous, some that have been, 80%, 60%, but everyone's been above 50%.
So let me ask you this. It doesn't appear to be time sensitive. We're going to have one more meeting before the term expires. Do you want to circle back and have a discussion, or?
I have no problem asking him again and seeing what his personal commitments are, and I'll be bringing it back with a recommendation at the next meeting.
Fair enough?
That's fair. Be more than happy to.
Okay. Good.
So I'll withdraw my second on that particular position. if
And the
that's
motioner is
what
withdrawing
Commissioner Delory wants.
until a later date.
Take a recommendation at the next meeting.
Great. All right, sir.
In closing, I just want to wish everyone a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and I want to thank all the staff members for all their hard work throughout the entire year, as well as all the citizens that have been interacting with us, especially the faithful people that come to the meetings at the regular basis that sit along the back of the wall, and I want to wish everyone
They're here longer than usual today.
That's true. I'm sure that they'll have something to say at the end of the meeting normally. But look forward to hearing what they have to say. But all kidding aside, this is a time to reflect all the things that we've been giving grace over. And happy holidays to not just us and the citizens, but to their family members and thanking everyone for their hard work and for the things that we've been given throughout this entire year. So Merry Christmas, everyone.
Great.
And
Thank you. My report will start with reappointment of board members. You all received my list. Code Enforcement Board, Catherine Townsend. Historical Commission, Deborah Bauer. Historical Commission, Catherine Townsend. And SCOPA, Andrew Van Gale.
Second.
I think it's SCIDA.
It's on the paper, Scott.
Yeah.
SCIDA, yes, I'm sorry.
He runs SCOPA, so he can't
Yeah,
be on the
right.
board of SCOPA.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
I did.
One of us did.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign? Carries unanimous. Thank you all very much. I'll have some more next month to finish out my roster. I want to thank Deputy Mark Easterly, who's retiring after 24 years with the Sheriff's Office, who has been here at the County Services Building for the last stint of his career. So we wish him all the best in his next adventure. Also, I want to announce, I think maybe many of you already know, Mr. Bob O'Malley has joined the Orlando Economic Partnership Team as Senior VP and of Government Affairs. Some of you know Bob, of course, and I think that's a good move. I really do. I think we're going to see some good stuff come out of that. Also, the Winter Springs interlocal agreement, what was mentioned already, that's good news. The other bit of news out of that district or Winter Springs in my district, which is Kevin Sweet will be the new county or the new city manager. He starts on the 16th of December. He comes from Taunton, Massachusetts. So I would ask that our county manager and staff be prepared to offer any sightseeing tours or things as he arrives. Coming from another state, not working under the Sunshine Law, he's probably going to find himself in, some learning curve and learning the communications and the community as a whole. So we look forward to better things out of the city of Winter Springs. I also want to take a moment and thank all of the county employees who this past year allowed me to come interfere for a day or so in my dirty jobs adventure, and doing sidewalks and pumping sewers out and being with the planning department and many others, using heavy equipment out at the landfill. Y'all are pretty surprised how good I can do that, weren't you? Poor guy says, "Don't mess up my daggone hi-ho." And I got off it and he goes, "You've done that before, haven't you?" I said, "Yeah." Anyway,
Is this costing us anything in workers' comp?
No. I didn't damage a thing. I could actually stayed there all day picking up mattresses and putting them in the dumpster, though. That was pretty good.
Boys with toys.
That's right. But I sincerely appreciate you all letting me spend the time with you, and it really does give an inside view of what our staff and employees are really doing for the people, and some of the challenges that are there and some of the challenges that aren't there. And I think it's good stuff. It really gives me a genuine sense of how our staff really cares. And you learn a lot of stuff from the people on the ground that we never hear. I think one of the things really I was thrilled about when we were doing sidewalks one day, and there was a broken sprinkler in the woman's yard that had nothing to do with the sidewalk that we were replacing. And one of the employees noticed it and basically just said, "Look, if we don't take care of it, we're going to get blamed for it anyway." We keep him on the truck. Off to the truck he goes, puts a new sprinkler head in, voila. That's just good customer service. So, there are those small things that, we never hear about. We tend to hear about sometimes a lot of the bad things. We don't always hear about the good things. I don't know if that homeowner called in to say thank you for fixing the sprinkler or not, but it was done. So that was a great situation. Of course, it was mentioned earlier about Mr. Bob Hadaway's passing. I won't go into details, but also just want to mention that he was also a founding and legacy member of the Private Business Association of Seminole County, and was a huge instrumental role in promoting private business here in Seminole County. I think he and Brenda Carey were both founding members of that, which helped push that small business community and help the small business community, which of course helps the government and helps make a much better community. So that's the end of my report. I sincerely appreciate it. Next, we're going to go to public comment.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask one
Sure.
thing? Can I interrupt? Sorry, and I forgot. Two things. One, I was listing the directors who was leaving, but you all also know that Mr. Bob Pike is retiring as well. He's retiring at the end of the calendar year as well. He's been with us for quite some time as well.
Our head building official.
So, yes, so he's our building official. And Commissioner Herr and Commissioner Constantine and I went to the Orlando City Pride event. The women's team, the Pride, won the national championship this year. It was the first time Orlando had won a championship, and they, as you all know, they practice at our facility at Sylvan. So it was a great event, and we wish them well. So
They got
it was
very
exciting.
excited.
Yes.
Very colorful language.
Good stuff.
That's it.
Thank you very much. All right, we will go to public comment that is not on the agenda. If there's anybody here from the public, we will invite you down to speak on any matter you desire about the county for 3 minutes. We will go to Ms. Dominique. Do we have any speakers?
Yes, sir. We have two, James Gorman and Bill Hyde.
Okay. Mr. Gorman and Mr. Hyde, you'll each be given 3 minutes.
Hi, James Gorman, I live in Oviedo.
Your full address, sir, for the record.
Okay, 2996 Cedar Glen Place in Oviedo. For the last 2 years, we had a restaurant that turned a number of times. The sheriff said they can't do anything. They never bring sound equipment to measure the sound decibels. And there's a discrepancy on how the measurement's supposed to be taken. It's supposed to be taken on my property or the property line where the noise is coming from. It is, for the record, the restaurant is Coma and Casa. It's at 1056 State Road 426, District 1, Bob Deliri's. I've called code enforcement, of course, the sheriff's department, and also on April of this year, there was a shooting in the parking lot. Gunshots were heard from our subdivision, and I, being the president of the HOA, got involved and researched it. I got the original reports. There were no arrests. They never found out who did it. Nobody confessed to anything. So I would like the board to look into the noise ordinance, also their ability to turn a restaurant into a nightclub with loud music, amplified music, all weekend long, till 2 in the morning. The noise ordinance, I guess chapter 30, there's 3 ordinances I figure that are being violated. It's, I guess, paragraph M, sound and intense volume. Then the other one is physiological and psychological harm to anybody. Anybody has to endure that. There are also indoor amplified music that is far from indoor levels, sound levels. I mean, I'm about a football field and a half away, and it's pounding through my walls. So I would request that you look into this and try to help us out.
Mr. Chairman?
Sure, we do have a sound ordinance, of course, that is enforceable. And we do have code enforcement, the sheriff's office capable. Commissioner, that road splits yours and my district. Can you help me?
It's solid, it's completely in District 1. It's over by Aloma Woods area.
Okay.
Over by the 417, not too far from
Okay.
it. If you can wait till after the meeting, I can sit down with you and we can actually talk to staff about what we could do next.
All right.
We should be in another 15, 20 minutes at the most.
All right, thank you.
And I appreciate your patience.
All right.
Commissioner Lockhart?
Mr. Gray, when we go through the topic of code enforcement and the reorg, I think this has been a recurring theme of having a struggle with code enforcement, enforcing not just loud noises, music, but also barking dogs. It seems like anything that happens late at night, we have a hard time getting people deployed. So just as a,
Good note.
maybe combine those two if you could.
Sure.
And we've been pretty successful with the new noise ordinance.
We have.
To an extent. Well, it's, I agree, it's subjective.
The question of the line is a recurring question. Where do we
Correct.
stand? Where do we put where do we put it? Do we put it out there when they clearly know it's out there?
Right.
And then if it's, a neighbor situation, then you just pipe it down until it.
Sure.
and
Yep.
So,
Yes, I don't think we don't need any more laws.
Right.
We need enforcement of
Correct.
those laws.
Exactly. Okay.
Thank you.
Just give us a couple minutes, I'll be down.
Mr. Hyde, welcome. It's good to see you today.
Good to be seen at my age, right? Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Bill Hyde. I live at 2379 Audley Street in Oviedo. I'd like to bring to not just the Commission, but to everyone's attention, this Saturday, December the 14th, is Wreaths Across America. For those who are not familiar, started in Arlington National Cemetery and has spread throughout the country. There will be a Wreaths Across America presentation at the Oviedo Cemetery this Saturday at noon. I invite everyone in the community to come out. We'll be honoring all of the armed forces, including the Merchant Marine, which is why I'm so nervous and so happy to be able to bring this to you, because it does recognize all of our fallen. The mission of Wreaths Across America is very short, and I kind of get squiggly when I hear it. Remember the fallen, honor those who serve, and teach the next generation the value of freedom. Hope everyone can attend. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hyde. Ms. Dominique, is there any others?
No, sir.
And we'll close public comment on open forum. We will now move to election of chairman, and we will pass the gavel to the county attorney.
I don't know that I need the gavel. Are you all going to behave?
I think that's the only reason it was brought down today.
Well, I'll take it then.
And by the way, the senator gavel has been found,
Lovely.
I'm told.
You're told, you don't know yet.
Well, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm told it's over at the museum.
Oh, good.
Yes, it is.
That's a mystery.
Okay, your policies and procedures require that you elect a chairman and a vice chairman every year. I will open the floor for nominations for chairman first, and a nomination is a motion, so you don't have to make a formal motion, and a nomination does not require a second. Once we hear that there are no more nominations, we'll close the floor to nominations, and I will call for a vote on the names in the order that they are received. And then upon the election of a chairman, the chairman will conduct the same process for a vice chairman. So that's the process we're going to follow. At this time, I will open the floor for nominations for chairman.
I move Jay Zimbauer.
I nominate Andrea Herr.
Hearing no further nominations, I'll close the floor to nominations. All in favor of Jay Zimbauer as chairman, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
That was a vote of 3-2 for Jay Zimbauer to be chairman. The nays were Commissioner Herr and Commissioner Lockhart, for the record. I'm going to pass this back to you, Chairman.
Okay. So we will open up the floor for nominations for vice chair.
I move Commissioner Herr.
Second.
Are you seconding, or are you asking for a second?
I'm
Yeah.
seconding that.
Oh, we don't need a second. That's
You don't
okay.
need a second.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Well, nay.
Commissioner-
Do you want, I guess we should ask Commissioner Herr, would you like to
Aye.
be vice chair for the third
Aye.
year in a row? Always a
Sure.
bridesmaid,
Let's
never
be
a
the
bride?
bridesmaid again.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very good. All right, there being none, then we will move on, and we have a chair and a vice chair, and we will conclude this meeting. I appreciate everybody's participation. Oh, that's right, we got to bless the standards again. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the standards of conduct? Does everybody agree with the standards of conduct?
Yes.
If not, forever hold your peace. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Like sign, seeing none. Standard of conduct for Seminole County Commissioners is agreed upon. We wish everybody a happy holiday season. Hope you get to spend plenty of time with your family and friends. And again, thanks staff and the commission for the great work we've done this year. We won't be getting back together until after the holidays. I'm sure we'll see some of you during the holidays with all the Christmas parties and events and parades and so forth going on. We shall now close the Board of County Commission meeting on December 10th, 2024. Thank you all very much.
Mr. Chair, Manager, and I know the meeting's over, I'm just asking,